Hello everyone, welcome to the magical world of Arabian Nights Magic the Gathering. Today we're looking at our custom Sue Ellen Brown limited edition Arabian Nights themed reimagined playmat. It's got close to 75, 80 references to the original Magic the Gathering Arabian Nights set that we've looked at before on the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the PSA graded set one more time now that it's complete and reholdered in new cases and has completed our PSA set registry. There were 78 cards in the regular set, and then if you get both light and dark variants of the common misprinted cards, you need 92 copies of Arabian Nights cards. So most of them are pictured on this playmat. As you can see, we're going to kind of go along and make some discoveries as we look at each of the cards today. And I will link the original Arabian Nights PSA set video down below in the description if you're interested in seeing the first go at it a couple months ago when we first started the channel. So we've grown since then. We've gotten better at making videos. We've certainly invested in some of the play mats and things that you see on the channel. So I appreciate all the subscribers and the followers and anyone who likes the video or adds a comment below and stays a part of the conversation. We're going to start with this Abu Jafar in PSA Mint 9 holder. This is the first card in the set that you need. It's from the uncommon sheet. There were no rares printed in Arabian Nights, just commons and uncommons, but they were printed a number of different times on each sheet. So some of the harder cards to find are on the uncommon sheet, and they were only printed once or twice on that sheet, which makes them scarcer. The second card in the set that you need is Aladdin. Very iconic Arabian Nights card. This is a PSA Mint 9 copy as well. Aladdin costs 2 colorless and 2 red. It's a 1/1 creature that when you pay 1 colorless and 2 red, you tap to take control of an artifact from an opponent. So it's a very useful card. The dark mana symbols that were printed on the uncommon cards were not corrected, just the ones on the common cards, but the overall aesthetic is that this darker mana symbol is kind of the first printing of the cards. And so we'll see if they all fit on this playmat today. It'll be an experiment. I have not tried this, but I'm hoping that they do. I think they will. If I can make maybe like 4 rows of cards, we might be able to get it. The third card in the set is Aladdin's Lamp, after Aladdin. They are on the playmats. There's some Aladdin's lamps being sold down here, and this cost 5 colorless plus 5 colorless, so it costs 10 colorless. They didn't have a mana symbol for 10, so they had to do 2 5s back in the day. And then you pay X and you draw a card from the top of your library. X cards, but choose only 1 to put in your hand. So this is a mint copy. We also have Aladdin's Ring, which I think is probably being sold at one of these stations as well. This only costs 8 colorless mana to cast. And it is a PSA near mint to mint 8 copy of Aladdin's Ring. You can see his little face in the stone there, and if you pay 8, you do 4 damage to any target. So it's a very expensive card to cast. Then we have our friend Alibaba, an inexpensive card to cast at 1 red. It's a 1/1 creature and lets you tap a wall for paying 1 red. This is also a near mint to mint 8 copy. It has a little bit of edge wear, corner wear, but perfectly centered. Then we have our buddy Ollie from Cairo, who's a very good card in Arabian Nights. It costs 2 colorless and 2 red to cast. It is a 0/1 creature. When Ollie is in play, damage that would reduce you to less than 1 life lowers you to 1 life, so all further damage is prevented. So it prevents you from losing the game. This is a near mint to mint 8 copy, possibly because of the print dot on the surface of the card. There's another version that collectors look for that does not have this print dot on the right-hand side. I think that is the harder to find one, but this one is pretty common. It's also in great shape. It's in the older flip holder and case from PSA. We were contemplating upgrading this and reholdering the cards that are in these cases, but we only had about 20 of those. It doesn't improve the overall set registry ranking or anything. It's just a totally aesthetic cosmetic upgrade that would cost probably about $300 or $400 to swap those out at $11.99 per card. And this month's special lets you send in cards up to $2,000. So we could reholder the Library of Alexandria if we wanted to, but we'll take a look at the whole set and make a decision tomorrow. The next two cards are the Army of Allah. We have the dark and the light version. These were freshly reholdered by PSA. You can see that they say dark and light on the flip. The dark copy was a PSA near mint to mint plus 8.5, and the light copy was a near mint to mint 8. Otherwise, the cards are identical. The casting cost was what was corrected. The first one was the darker casting cost that all the uncommons have, and the lighter version has the lighter casting costs. We'll put those up here, and on the playmat, the Army of Allah was right there at the top. You can see that next to the armies. Okay. Moving on, we have a very awesome rare card. Uncommon 2 probably, but very hard to get. This was the Bazaar of Baghdad. This is a near mint. This is a mint copy in a 9 holder. Perfectly centered, probably packed fresh. Just a great card. Very hard to find for the set. There's a lot of Bazaar of Baghdad decks that use dredge and deal with cards in the graveyard, but you need this for the set. That'll go up here. It looks a lot like the playmat. You can see a lot of the awnings over here in the card, and also this gentleman with the cart full of the brass man pieces. He's pictured on the playmat right there. He's from Bazaar of Baghdad. Next, alphabetically, is Bird Maiden. And Bird Maiden was a common card, but it was also printed with the light and dark variant. This is a dark copy in near mint to mint 8 condition. Possibly because of the centering is shifted down and to the right. And then here is a mint 9 light copy. And again, the casting cost is what is different on this card, but otherwise it's identical. Centering is a little bit better on the light version. It's usually harder to get the lights well centered and in better condition. They were printed later in the print run, probably in fewer quantities than the dark ones. So the dark cards are usually easier to find in mint 9, and a lot of my lights are in near mint to mint 8. But we'll put those on the playmat, and they actually will end up next to the Bird Maiden. There on the playmat. Then we have Bottle of Suleiman. This is a near mint to mint 8 copy, and it has coin flipping abilities. You pay 4 colorless to cast it, and then you pay 1 and you flip a coin. And your opponent calls heads or tails. If the flip ends in opponent's favor, Bottle of Suleiman does 5 damage to you. Otherwise, it creates a 5/5 flying djinn immediately on your side. You can use counters to represent the djinns, and djinns were these mythical creatures that appeared a couple times in the set. We'll point those out once we start seeing those in the showcase today. So there's Bottle of Suleiman. It's also on the playmat right down here. We have Brass Man. We just picked this one up recently, made a video about that. This is a mint 9 copy. It was kind of harder to find in PSA holder, and it's a very good creature for 1 colorless. It is a 1/3, and It does not untap as normal. You have to pay 1 colorless to untap it during your untap phase. We'll put Brass Man up top here. Okay, how are we doing? We got enough room? I think that'll be good. Kind of slanting. But I think that's due to the vantage point. The camera's up so high that the cards look like they're at an angle. Then we have Camel. This is a near mint to mint 8 copy in PSA holder for the set. There are not, to my knowledge, light and dark variants of the Camel. You can't really tell the difference between the casting cost, which is just 1 white, and it was a very, very common card, printed like 4 times, I believe, on the common sheet. So there were many, many copies of Camels printed. But you do need it for the set. Then you can get City in a Bottle is the next card. And the City in a Bottle is on the playmat. Down there next to the bottle of Suleiman's, being sold next to the Sue Ellen Brown characters, selling the medallions from Tempest. City in a Bottle is really awesome. It's 2 colorless, and when you cast this artifact, all cards from Arabian Nights must be discarded from play except for City in a Bottle. So this will destroy all City of Brasses. It will destroy all Kurd Apes, all Bazaar of Baghdad's, all Guardian Beasts, you name it. This is an absolute beauty, mint 9 condition in the older flip. And then speaking of City of Brass, we have City of Brass here. This is a very powerful land. The land cycles in this set were really good. It's a small set, 78 cards, but there's probably a handful of lands that were used in just about every deck back in the day. So City of Brass is one of those. It taps for 1 mana of any color. This is a mint 9 copy. It also does 1 damage to you when it is tapped. So if your opponent were to tap this land for you, it would do a damage to you as well. We have Kumbaj Witches is the next card. It is a PSA 8 copy. Costs 2 black to cast. It's a 1/3 Witches. Don't know if they were on the playmat. We have a Cyclone by Mark Tadine. This costs 2 colorless. It's always hard to see the colorless mana symbols on the uncommons, but 2 colorless, 2 green, and you put 1 chip on Cyclone each round during your upkeep. Then you pay a green for each chip or discard Cyclone. If not discarded, Cyclone immediately does 1 damage per chip to each player and each creature in play. So not bad. This is a mint 9 copy in an older holder without the hologram on there, but still in great shape for its age. The Dancing Scimitar is one of my favorite cards. This set reveal will probably be my kind of contribution to the Magic's 30th anniversary. So happy anniversary, Magic the Gathering. Technically the 30th anniversary of the Alpha set, but a few months later the Arabian Nights set was printed, also in 1993. So technically this set is also 30 years old this year. So happy anniversary, happy birthday. This is the Dancing Scimitar by Anson Maddox, and the Scimitar was the expansion symbol used in all the cards. So this card is in mint 9 copy. It was very hard to find in mint condition. Then we have Dan, 2 blue. It's a 4/1 creature, and it cannot attack unless opponent has islands in play, so it's very good in Merfolk decks and decks where you can phantasmal terrain their lands into islands or magical hack their lands into islands. Highly recommend it. This is a mint 9 copy as well. I have a Desert. This is a mint 9 copy of Desert. One of the less powerful lands in the set, but it does 1 color. It taps to add 1 colorless mana or does 1 damage to an attacking creature after it deals damage. And then we also have the Mirage variant. This is a near mint to mint 8 copy in a PSA holder. PSA does not distinguish between the regular and the Mirage variant, but this, commonly known as the Mirage variant, has a print dot on that pyramid sand mound in the back. Looks similar to the Ollie from Cairo print dot, but it didn't have any notable characteristics to give it its own name like the desert has. Continuing the desert theme of the set, we have Desert Nomads. This card is by Christopher Rush. It is a 2/2 Nomads creature for 2 colorless and a red. This is a mint 9 copy. It also has Desert Walk, so if your opponent is playing deserts, you could attack without being blocked. And then we have Desert Twister, which costs 4 colorless. It's hard to see, but it's 4 colorless, 2 green. It destroys any card in play. Very cool card by Susan Van Camp. And those will go on the playmat here. Make sure I got, yeah, I can keep going. Okay. Then we have one of my favorite cards, Diamond Valley. This is a mint 9 copy. You sacrifice one of your creatures in exchange for a number of life points equal to its toughness. Note that this ability may be used after blocking has been declared. So you could use it, you could sacrifice a Rook Egg. We'll get to that card later. And then when you sacrifice, when Rook Egg goes to the graveyard, it creates a 4/4 flying token. So there's a lot of combos you can do with Diamond Valley and Rook Egg from the Arabian Nights set. This is a mint 9 copy, as I said. And then we have Drop of Honey, also a very awesome uncommon card. This is a mint, near mint to mint 8 copy. It is a little off center, but it's also pack fresh. It costs a green, and during your upkeep, I think this was popular in land still decks in Vintage or Legacy. During your upkeep, the creature in play with the lowest power is destroyed. Cannot be regenerated. If there is a tie, you choose which creature to destroy. Drop of Honey must be discarded if there are no creatures in play. So if you're not playing creatures, your opponent would just have to discard their creatures until there are no creatures left in play. Okay, we're gonna need a bigger boat. Then we have Ebony Horse. This is a mint 9 copy of Ebony Horse. It's a mono artifact. Removes your attacking creatures from combat. An older case. We have El Hajjaj. This is a mint 9 copy as well. 1 colorless, 2 black. To cast, it's a 1/1 El Hajjaj creature. You gain 1 life for every point of damage that it inflicts. So it's kind of got life link is the effect there. We have Elephant Graveyard. This is a mint 9 copy of Elephant Graveyard. You tap to add 1 colorless to your mana pool, or you can regenerate an elephant or a mammoth. So this card became very popular once Wizards started printing elephant and dinosaurs and mammoth cards. We have Urg Raiders. This is a common card that was misprinted with the dark and the light mana symbol. So we have freshly reholdered dark and light Urg Raiders from Arabian Nights. These are both 2/3 Raider creatures. And if you do not attack with them, they do 2 damage to you instead of at the end of your turn. We have Urnam Djinn, who is on the playmat. This is a pretty cool uncommon creature for 3 colorless and a green. This is a mint 9 copy of Urnam Djinn. 4/5. You must choose one of your opponent's non-walk creatures in play. And then until your next upkeep, that creature gains Forest Walk. We have Eye for an Eye, which is up here in the corner of the playmat right there. This strong creature. It's an instant card for 2 white, and he can be cast only when a creature or spell does damage to you. It does an equal amount of damage to the controller of that creature or spell. If some spell or effect reduces the amount of damage you receive, it does not reduce the damage dealt to Eye for an Eye. This is a mint 9 copy. Then we have Fish Liver Oil. This was a common misprint with the light and the dark variations on it. This is the dark copy in a mint 9 and a light copy also in a mint 9 holder. Target creature gains Island Walk ability. Very good in Merfolk decks. Give your creatures Island Walk that are not Merfolks. Then we have Flying Carpet, an artifact, a mono artifact for 4 colorless, pay 2, and it gives 1 creature flying ability till the end of turn. This is a mint 9 copy. Similarly, we have Flying Men. This is a mint 9 copy of Flying Men by Christopher Rush. These guys were on the top of the playmat as well. A 1/1 flyer for 1 blue, pretty good creature. Then we have a Gasbon Ogre. This is a mint 9 copy green creature for 2/2, but during its upkeep, controller's upkeep, the player with the highest life total takes control of the Gasbon Ogre. So it trades possession if you're low on life. This is a mint 9 copy, common card. Then we have Giant Tortoise. There are actually 2 giant tortoises. We have the dark version here and the light version that we just picked up recently. I think that completed our set. And then we had to get some of the cards reholdered. It gains +0/+3 while it's untapped. So it's a pretty good blocker. It's a 1/1 for 1 blue and 1 colorless. Moving on, one of my favorite cards in the entire set and Multiverse of Magic is the Guardian Beast PSA 9 copy right here. This is a mint card, and it protects all your artifacts as long as Guardian Beast is not tapped. So you put it in a deck with Chaos Orb, and if you had like 1 or 2 copies of Guardian Beast on the table, you could Chaos Orb, and Guardian Beast would protect your Chaos Orb, and it would just return to your battlefield tapped instead of being destroyed. Then we have Gasbon Ogre, Ogres. She's also on the playmat up top there. It was one of the common cards that was misprinted with light and dark variants. Here is the dark copy in a PSA 9 holder, and the light copy also in a PSA 9 holder. We have Her Jackal from Arabian Nights. This is a mint 9 copy Her Jackal. It is a 1/1 creature by Drew Tucker, and you can tap it to prevent a creature from regenerating for the remainder of the turn. We have one of the Ifrits that we mentioned before. This is the If Biff Ifrit. It costs 2 colorless, 2 green. This is a mint 9 copy. We just had this one reholdered as well. A flying 3/3 creature. You may recognize the art from Revised. There was a common misprint where they printed the Serendib Ifrit with a green frame and this artwork, and then it had Serendib Ifrit, the blue casting cost, and the Serendib Ifrit text and power toughness on the Revised version. So this is a very iconic card for 2 reasons. 1, because it's in Arabian Nights as an Ifrit, and 2, because it was misprinted in Revised as the Serendib Ifrit, which we will see later in the set as well. This is Island Fish Gisconius. It costs 4 colorless, 3 blue. That's some awesome art by Jesper Meerfors. It is a 6/8 island fish, and you have to pay 3 blue during your untap phase to untap island fish. It cannot attack unless opponent has islands in play, and island fish is destroyed if at any time your opponent has no islands in play. So a very expensive card. Island of Wak Wak. This is a mint 9 copy. Is one of the powerful lands. You can tap to reduce target flying creature's power to 0. And there are a lot of good flying creatures in the set. So that's a very good card. We have a couple Jander's items. We have Jander's Ring. This is a mint 9 copy in an older holder. For 6 colorless, you can cast it, and then for 2 colorless, you can discard a card you just drew and draw another to replace it. Then we have Jander's Saddlebags. This goes along with the horse theme, and this is a mint 9 copy. For 2 colorless, you cast it, and for 3 colorless, you can untap a creature, possibly one that's attacking you. We have Jeweled Bird, which is played in Ante. This is a near mint to mint 8 copy of Jeweled Bird. You draw a card and exchange Jeweled Bird for your contribution to the Ante. So if you're playing Ante, you could include this. If you're not playing Ante, you would not be able to include this card in your deck. We have Jihad, which was has some really nice art by Brian Snowdy. The card references religious wars, so it was censored, but it costs 3 white, and as long as the opponent has cards of the color that you choose, your white creatures get +2/+1, and Jihad must be discarded immediately if at any time opponent has no cards of that color in play. Mint 9 copy there. And then 2 more Ifrits to round out the first half of the set. We have the Junun Ifrit, which is on the playmat on the right there. This is by Christopher Rush. It is a 3/3 flyer, as I mentioned. The flying creatures were very powerful. This is a mint 9 copy in a PSA holder. And then another powerful Ifrit. This is a Djinn. The Djinns and the Ifrits were both very powerful. This is the Juzam Djinn in a PSA near mint to mint 8 holder. It costs 2 colorless and 2 black. It does 1 damage to you during your upkeep, but it's a 5/5 for 4 mana. So really cool. One of the most iconic Magic the Gathering cards in the set. Then we have Kabal Ghoul, which is over here on the playmat on the edge, wearing the pink visor. Kabal Ghoul, this is a mint 9 copy of Kabal Ghoul. It's a 1/1 ghoul, and at the end of your turn, you put a 1/1 counter on Kabal Ghoul for each other creature that died during the turn that was not regenerated. Then we have King Suleiman. Maybe I'll take a quick screenshot there. Then we have King Suleiman, which is on the playmat up on the upper left there. This is a king, 1/1 king for 1 colorless and 1 white. Also a near mint to mint 8 copy in a PSA holder. It has a really strong ability where you tap the King Suleiman to destroy an Ifrit or Djinn creature. So if your opponent was playing Junun Ifrits or Juzam Djinns, you could just tap your King Suleiman to destroy their creature. One of the best common cards in the set is Curd Ape. It's a 1/1 ape for 1 red mana, and it gains +1/+2 if you have forests in play. So if you're playing a red-green deck, this would automatically become a 2/3 creature. And this is a mint 9 copy. Another one of the best lands in the set is the Library of Alexandria. This is a mint 9 copy in a semi-older holder. It's not the newest holder, but it's not the oldest holder either. And so it's super well centered. One of my favorite cards. It lets you draw an extra card as long as you have 7 cards in your hand. That is the library. We have Magnetic Mountain. This is a mint 9 copy of Magnetic Mountain. For 1 colorless and 2 red, blue creatures do not untap as normal. Art is by Susan Van Camp. Very iconic Arabian Nights artist. We also have Merchant Ship. This is a PSA mint 9 copy. Art by Tom Vannerstrand. It is a 0/2 ship for 1 blue, and when it attacks and not blocked, you gain 2 life. We have Metamorphosis by Christopher Rush. It is a sorcery card for 1 green. This is a mint 9 copy, and you sacrifice a creature for amount of mana equal to its casting cost +1. We have the jdj-sapphire, which is an anagram for Jamie, who is a friend of Richard Garfield. This is a mint 9 copy in a PSA holder. Pretty well centered, but also packed fresh. And it is a 6/3 djinn for 3 red mana. We have the next common misprint is the Moorish Cavalry. We have a dark version in a PSA 9 holder and a light version in the PSA near mint to mint 8 holder. They both have trample. They're both 3/3 cavalries for 2 colorless and 2 white to cast. We have a basic land, Mountain. This was the only basic land printed in Arabian Nights. It is also matches the 3rd version of the artwork that was added to the beta set. It was not printed in alpha. This version is a mint 9 PSA copy. Trades for, I'd say, a couple $100 in this condition. There are a lot of collectors that just love this Arabian Nights Mountain and they hoard them like crazy. Then we have Naf's Asp, which is down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the playmat. We have a mint 9 dark copy by Christopher Rush. It's a 1/1 Asp. And we have a near mint to mint 8 light copy. The colorless mana symbol in the text box is what is different on these 2 cards. So that's the Naf's Asp. Then we have an Oasis, which might as well be just a basic land. It taps to prevent 1 damage to any creature. It's not the best land in Arabian Nights, but this is a mint 9 copy. Very easy to obtain in mint condition because it was not played a lot. Then we have Rudy's favorite, Old Man of the Sea. This is a mint 9 copy in a semi-older holder as well. For 1 colorless and 2 blue, you tap to gain control of a creature with power no greater than Old Man's power. He is a 2/3 Merid creature. If Old Man becomes tapped, you lose control of this creature. You may choose not to untap Old Man as normal. Also, you lose control of the creature if Old Man dies or the creature's power becomes greater than Old Man's power. There's Old Man of the Sea. We have another light and dark variant. We have the Oubliette. This was reprinted in Modern Horizons 2, I think. We have a mint 9 dark copy as well as a mint 9 light copy. They both cost 1 colorless and 2 black. They're both enchantments. You select a creature in play. When the Oubliette is cast, that creature is considered out of play as long as Oubliette is in play. So that creature cannot be the target of spells, cannot receive damage, Use special powers, attack or defend. All counters and enchantments on the creature remain but are also out of play. So if Oubliette is removed, creature returns to play tapped. There's both of those. Similarly, we have 2 copies of Piety. We have a dark 9, mint 9 copy, and we also have a mint 9 light copy. The casting cost was 2 colorless and a white, 2 colorless and a white, and all defending creatures get +0/+3 till the end of turn. We have Pyramids to go with the Arabian Nights desert theme. This was a very powerful artifact for 6 colorless. It's a poly artifact. So you pay 2 and prevent a land from being destroyed or remove any enchantment from a land for each 2 colorless that you pay. This is a mint, near mint to mint 8 copy in PSA. Slightly shifted to the right for centering, but otherwise looks like a very fresh copy. Then we have an awesome creature, Repentant Blacksmith. This is a mint 9 copy. 1 colorless, 1 white. It's a 1/2 weaponsmith, blacksmith, and it gets protection from red, which is really useful in Arabian Nights. So this video is taking a little longer than I thought. It's because we have so much real estate to cover in the video. I didn't think about that, but we have the Ring of Ma'ruf, which we just reholdered. This is a beautiful mint 9 copy of the ring. Not the One Ring, but it's the One Ring from Arabian Nights. Actually, there's the Aladdin's ring. So I think it's one of 2. This is one of 2 rings from Arabian Nights. But this card is pretty cool. It costs 5 to cast and it costs 5 to activate, but it lets you search, get a card from outside the game and put it into your deck. Could be in your sideboard, could be in your binder of trade cards, could be exiled from the game. Either way, this lets you fetch that card and bring it back into play. Then we have the Rook Eggs that we talked about earlier. The Rook Eggs, it is a 0/3 egg creature for 3 colorless and a red. And if it goes to the graveyard, it creates a 4/4 flying creature. Comes into play on your side at the end of that turn. This was art by Christopher Rush. It was misprinted with the light and the dark casting costs. The dark version is a mint 9 copy. The light version is a near mint to mint 8 copy. Both are in the new holders. Then we have Sandals of Abdallah. These are some pretty pink sandals here. These are near mint to mint 8 in condition. For 4 colorless, it's a mono artifact. For 2, you can activate it to give a creature island walk until the end of turn. And then if that creature is destroyed, so are the sandals. Sandals is also a nice resort vacation spot too. So we have Sandstorm, which is a mint 9 copy of Sandstorm by Brian Snowdy. 1 green instant, all attacking creatures suffer 1 damage. You just blow some sand in their face, distract them while you cast Serendib de Jinn. This is the next card in the set. It is a tough to find uncommon card. This is a mint 9 copy in a semi-older holder as well. For 2 colorless and 2 blue, you summon this 5/6 flyer, but during your upkeep, you must choose one of your own lands and destroy it. So it does have a drawback, similar to Serendib Ifrit. This was the card that was famously printed in Revised, but with the If Biff Ifrit frame and artwork. But so you can play Revised Serendibs. They still cost 2 colorless and a blue. They are still 3/4 flying Ifrits, and they still do 1 damage to you during your upkeep. So I like to play this card with Spirit Link, so you can Spirit Link it. So when it does 1 damage to you, you gain a life, so it doesn't really do any damage to you. But when you attack with it and it does 3 damage to your opponent, you gain 3 life. So it's really good, really good with Spirit Link from Legends. Highly recommend it. Scheherazade is one of the famous cards from Arabian Nights 2 that has a cool function where you stop the game and create a sub-game, and then you play that sub-game out, and whoever wins that sub-game, the opponent loses half their life in the regular game. The only drawback is it extends the length of the game by a considerable amount. So even if you were playing with like 4 copies of Scheherazade, I've seen this, where you have 4 copies in your deck, and then you stop the game and you shuffle your library and you play another Scheherazade. So it's almost like the Inception deck, where you just go down many levels and extend, usually maybe draw the game, maybe go to time and then draw. I'm not sure what the strategy is, but this is a near mint to mint 8 copy of Scheherazade. Some beautiful art by Foglio, and it's also reimagined up on the left corner of the playmat. So excellent job by Sue Ellen Brown there. We have the Sinbad, which is a really fun card. This is a 1 colorless, 1 blue creature. It's a 1/1 creature. This is a near mint to mint 8 copy, and you tap to draw a card from your library, but you discard that card if it's not a land. So works pretty good with Bazaar of Baghdad if you want to get creatures into your graveyard. Assuming you don't have many lands in your deck, this is a good fun little uncommon card from Arabian Nights. We have Singing Tree, 3 colorless and a green. This is a mint 9 copy and PSA holder. It's a 0/3 Singing Tree, and you can tap it to reduce an attacking creature's power to 0. That mechanic came up a lot in Arabian Nights. There were a lot of creatures in the set, just like Sorceress Queen. This is a mint 9 copy of Sorceress Queen that we just had reholdered. It's a 1/1 sorceress, and you tap to make another creature 0/2 until the end of turn. So, just like Singing Tree, it kind of has a slight advantage by reducing your opponent's creatures to 0 toughness power. And then one of the last light dark common variants is the Stone Throwing Devils. We have a mint 9 dark copy and a near mint to mint 8 light copy. This difference is in the casting cost. So the black mana symbol is slightly darker on that card than this card, hence the difference. But it is a 1/1 devil creature that both have first strike. We have Unstable Mutation, which is on the playmat down in the lower right-hand corner. The Unstable Mutation, this is a mint 9 copy. Target creatures gain +3/+3, and then you take counters off each turn. So it's like a giant growth, but lasts in residual effect the next couple turns. Very clean copy. It's also one of the common cards. Easy to obtain in a mint 9 condition. Then we have War Elephant, one of my favorite cards. Also the only art done by Kristen Bishop. It's a 2/2 elephant. Works really well with Elephant Graveyard. We have a mint 9 dark version with the dark mana symbol, and a near mint to mint 8 light version with the lighter mana symbol up top. Just an absolute beautiful card. A lot of centering issues. You can see this one was severely centered to the right. This one is slightly centered down to the bottom. They're both 2/2 trample elephants that have banding. And then the last 3 cards in the set are Wailuli Wolf, which I had mentioned before was Lily Wu Anagram, Richard's ex-wife. It is a 1/1 wolf creature for 1 colorless and a green. There was a dark version and a lighter version. This is a mint 9 dark version, a near mint to mint 8 light version. They tap to give any creature in play +1/+1 till the end of turn. I believe a Gem Mint 10 light version, there's only like one copy in the world, so they're very hard to find in the light version in pristine condition. Due to the centering, this one is severely centered to the bottom. The dark version is better centered, but they also suffer from left to right centering issues. And then, last but not least, is the Edwin Efreet. This is a mint 9 Efreet copy. It is 3 red to cast. This 3/6 Efreet. It does not have flying, but it does have a coin flip ability, I believe. If you choose to block with this Efreet, you flip a coin immediately after the defense is announced. The opponent calls heads or tails while the coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, Edwin Efreet cannot block this turn. Oh, if it ends up in the opponent's favor, it can't block. But if it's in your favor, you can block. And it has 6 toughness, so it can block a lot of stuff, except flying creatures. Unless you give it flying with one of the other cards in the set, I believe. All right, so that's the last card in the set. And then, as I showed in the first video, we still have our Arabian Nights booster pack that was graded by PSA. This is in a PSA near mint to mint 8 holder. These were taken from a booster box many years ago, and then I submitted a bunch of them to PSA, and I kept one for myself. I will take a screenshot for the video, and then we will upload this 46-minute video. What a review this has been. Thank you for watching our second PSA Arabian Nights graded set review. I know it was a little lengthy, but I wanted to show off and showcase the playmat by Sue Ellen Brown and all of the cards in the set that were also freshly reholdered in many cases. That's the set, 78 cards, 92 if you count the variants, 93 if you count the deserts, the Mirage variant. It's one of the best sets in Magic. It is the first Arabian Nights. It's the first expansion set, so it has a lot of mythology attached to it, and will always stand the test of time, I believe, as one of the most exciting sets to collect in the game and the hobby. So appreciate everybody for watching. Thanks again. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Give this video a like if you thought it was well done, and leave a comment below to let me know what your favorite Arabian Nights card was and what you're collecting for your sets. Appreciate everybody. Have a great day.